The sky above the shattered planet was dark, filled with streaks of ash and the glow of distant fires. Ruined cities stretched across the horizon, skeletons of human settlements long abandoned. In the midst of the desolation, a small squad of humans moved cautiously, their boots crunching over broken concrete and twisted metal. Captain Lyra Kyle led them, her eyes sharp, scanning for any movement. She had seen too many battles, too many lost friends, and yet she had never lost the fire that drove her forward. They were not here for conquest. They were here for survival, for knowledge, for pieces of a past that had been buried under centuries of alien domination. The Vorin, a species that had conquered countless human colonies, ruled this region with cold precision. Their ships patrolled the skies. Their warriors enforced control with ruthless skill, and their technology far surpassed anything humanity had developed in the years since the war. Yet humans endured, hidden in shadows, waiting for the chance to reclaim what was theirs. Lyra stopped at the edge of a collapsed building, her hand resting on the hilt of her standard plasma pistol. Her team fanned out behind her, scanning the ruined cityscape. "Keep your eyes open," she whispered. "We're not alone here." The squad moved silently through the streets, careful not to trigger the sensors they knew must still be active. Lyra's instincts were sharp. Every crumbling wall, every piece of broken glass seemed to whisper secrets of the past. Then she saw it, a structure that did not match the rest of the city. A building intact enough to suggest it had been shielded from the destruction. Its design was sleek, almost alien, but something about it called to her. "Over there," she said, pointing. "That's our target." They approached cautiously. The entrance was partially blocked by rubble, but Lyra led the way, pushing debris aside until they could enter. Inside, the air was stale, filled with the smell of dust and long-forgotten machinery. Panels lined the walls, flickering with faint blue light. Lyra's hand grazed one, and it sparked briefly under her touch. The facility had been abandoned for decades, but it was not entirely dead. At the far end of the room, she saw it, a blade resting on a pedestal that seemed far too delicate for something so important. It was unlike any weapon she had ever seen. The hilt was human in design, simple and functional, but the blade itself shimmered with a faint, almost ethereal glow. Lines of alien circuitry ran along its length, pulsing faintly as if the weapon were alive. Lyra stepped closer, her heart beating faster. She reached out and grasped the hilt. The moment her fingers wrapped around it, a shiver ran through her body. The blade seemed to hum in recognition. Flashes of memory flooded her mind, not her own, but human memories spanning centuries, battles fought across the stars, victories, defeats, courage, and determination. She staggered back slightly, holding the weapon as it seemed to resonate with her very being. "Captain?" one of her squad members called, concern in his voice. Lyra did not answer immediately. She felt a connection, something almost spiritual. This was not just a weapon. It was a reminder of what humanity had once been and what it could still become. The hum of the blade was broken by the sudden sound of movement outside. The Vorin had detected their presence. Alarms blared faintly, and the room vibrated with the approach of alien forces. Lyra's squad tensed, weapons drawn, as shadowy figures moved along the corridors. "Get ready," Lyra whispered. "They're coming." The first Vorin soldier entered, tall and armored, its eyes glowing with cold intelligence. Lyra swung the blade, and it moved as if guided by her instincts rather than her conscious thought. The weapon's edge sliced cleanly through the alien's armor, sending it crashing to the floor. Shock rippled through the squad. The blade was more than a tool. It was a partner. The battle intensified. Vorin reinforcements poured in. But each time Lyra struck, the blade responded, almost predicting her opponent's moves. Her squad fought with renewed courage, inspired by the display of human power that the blade seemed to embody. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, Lyra felt a surge of hope. Humanity was not weak. Humanity had never been weak. After what felt like hours but was likely only minutes, the last of the Voran soldiers fell. The squad was battered but alive. Lyra held the blade, now calm, its glow steady. She could feel it resonating with her heartbeat, as if it had chosen her for a reason. "Captain," Taryn, the squad's tech specialist, said, approaching cautiously. "That weapon, it's unlike anything we've ever seen. It's alive in a way. It responds to DNA, to neural signals. I think it recognizes you." Lyra studied the blade. "Recognizes me?" she repeated, almost in disbelief. "Yes," Taryn said. "Not just you. Humans like you. Strong humans. It's old, ancient even, and it carries memories, lessons, instincts from those who wielded it before. I think it's meant to awaken something in us." Lyra's mind raced. If what Taryn said was true, this blade was more than a weapon. It was a key to human potential that had been buried under centuries of defeat and oppression. She looked at her squad, battered but alive, and realized that this was more than a fight for survival. This was the beginning of something greater. "We need to move," she said finally, gripping the hilt tightly. "The Voran will be back, and we need to understand what we've found before they do." The squad moved deeper into the facility, guided by the faint glow of the blade. As they navigated corridors lined with alien technology, Lyra felt a strange sense of destiny settling over her. Each step seemed to awaken a part of her she had never known existed. She remembered stories of ancient humans, of warriors who had fought against impossible odds, and she felt their courage flowing through her. They reached a central chamber filled with consoles and holographic displays. Taryn immediately set to work, scanning the blade and the surrounding technology. "This facility," he murmured, "it was studying humans. Or maybe it was waiting for one of us. For someone like you." Lyra knelt beside the pedestal, holding the blade close. "Why me?" she whispered, almost to herself. "Why now?" The blade pulsed faintly in response, and Lyra felt a surge of clarity. It was not just her strength that had drawn it. It was her resolve, her will to fight, to protect humanity, to survive against impossible odds. This weapon had been waiting for someone who embodied the spirit of the human race. Outside, the sound of Voran reinforcements grew louder. Lyra knew they could not stay here long, but for the first time in years, she felt a flicker of hope. Humanity had a chance, not because they had superior numbers or technology, but because they had something the Voran could never understand: courage, ingenuity, and an unyielding spirit. "Captain," Taryn said urgently, "they're coming. We have to leave now." Lyra nodded, gripping the blade with both hands. She felt its power thrumming through her, guiding her movements, sharpening her senses. "Fall back," she commanded, "and stay close. We move as one." The squad retraced their steps through the facility, the blade lighting their way. When they reached the exit, a group of Voran soldiers blocked their path. Lyra did not hesitate. She stepped forward, the blade singing in her hands. With a series of precise, fluid movements, she cut through their defenses. Each strike seemed guided by instinct, almost as if the weapon knew exactly what was needed to protect its wielder. The squad followed, inspired by her skill and the blade's mysterious power. Together they fought their way through the alien forces, emerging into the open ruins of the city. The sky was still dark, still filled with ash and fire, but for the first time, Lyra saw something else, a glimmer of possibility. "We made it," one of her squad whispered, awe in his voice. Lyra looked down at the blade, still glowing faintly. "This is only the beginning," she said, her voice steady. The Vorin think they have won, but they don't understand us. They don't understand what it means to be human. As the squad moved toward the horizon, the ruined city behind them, Lyra felt the weight of history and destiny on her shoulders. The blade had chosen her, and with it, humanity might finally reclaim its place in the galaxy. She looked up at the dark sky, knowing that this war was far from over. But for the first time in a long time, she felt certain they could win. The hum of the blade was steady in her hands, a living reminder of human courage and resilience. And as Lyra led her team through the desolation, she knew that the story of humanity was far from finished. The future was uncertain. The battles ahead were dangerous. But with the human spirit awakened and the blade at her side, she would face whatever came next. This was the moment when hope returned, when the spark of human greatness ignited once more, and the universe, vast and indifferent, would soon learn that humans, though underestimated, could rise to meet any challenge, and that some weapons did not just obey, they recognized those worthy enough to wield them. The stars shone faintly above the asteroid stronghold, where the human resistance had taken shelter. The station was carved deep into rock, hidden from the eyes of the Vorin who dominated the skies above. Lyra Kale entered cautiously, the blade in her hands glowing softly, its hum steady as if greeting an old friend. Her squad followed, tired but alert, their eyes scanning the dark corridors for any signs of danger. Inside, the Resistance Command Center was a hive of activity. Humans worked at consoles, repairing equipment, monitoring communications, and preparing for the inevitable Vorin counterattack. Yet when Lyra appeared with the blade, a hush fell over the room. Whispers spread quickly. The weapon had chosen its wielder, and that wielder had returned alive. Terran, the Resistance's tech specialist, met her at the entrance. His eyes widened when he saw the blade. "It's responding more strongly than I expected," he said, stepping closer. "I've been running scans, trying to understand its energy signature. It's unlike anything I've ever seen. It's human, and yet not entirely human. I think it's part of a program the ancients left behind. It reacts to strong human DNA, and it seems to carry memories of those who wielded it before." Lyra examined the blade, feeling its power resonate with her heartbeat. "Memories?" she asked, almost whispering. "Like visions?" "Yes," Terran said. "Not just visions. Knowledge, combat techniques, instincts, strategies. It's as if every human who held this blade passed on their experience. It's meant to awaken potential, to remind humanity of what it once was and what it could be again." Lyra felt a strange mixture of awe and responsibility. She had survived countless battles, but this was different. The blade was more than a weapon. It was a symbol of human resilience, a reminder that humanity had once fought across the stars and could do so again. Terran led her to a quiet chamber, away from the bustle of the command center. He placed the blade on a console and began scanning it with specialized equipment. Lyra watched as holographic lines traced the circuitry, revealing patterns that seemed to react to her presence. "It's alive," Terran said finally, shaking his head. "Not in the way we understand life, but it responds to willpower, courage, determination. It's waiting for humans worthy enough to awaken its full potential." Lyra knelt beside it, her fingers hovering over the hilt. "Then it chose me," she said softly, almost to herself. "It chose me to do what?" Terran looked at her, his expression serious. "To lead, to fight, to remind humanity of who we are. This weapon is a spark, but a spark needs fuel, Captain, and that fuel is us." For hours, Lyra trained with the blade, testing its reactions and learning its rhythms. It moved with her, guided her instincts, and sometimes even anticipated her actions before she consciously decided them. She realized the weapon was not just a tool, it was a partner, a reflection of human strength and ingenuity. Each swing, each thrust, seemed to unlock something within her, a confidence she had not felt in years. As the day passed, news arrived that the Vorin had detected unusual energy readings near the asteroid stronghold. Patrol ships moved closer, their sensors sweeping the area. Lyra knew they would not wait long before attempting an attack. She gathered her squad and addressed the resistance leaders. "We cannot hide forever. The Vorin are closing in. We need to strike first, or they will crush us where we stand." The resistance was wary. They had endured decades of loss, and most had never seen humans capable of challenging the Vorin in direct combat. But Lyra's calm confidence, combined with the presence of the blade, inspired hope. They began planning a strike, a mission to disrupt Vorin supply lines, reclaim human settlements, and gather information on alien movements. The next day, under the cover of darkness, Lyra led a team aboard a stolen Vorin shuttle. The ship moved silently through the asteroid fields, weaving between massive rocks to avoid detection. Lyra held the blade in her hands, its hum steady, as if sensing the approaching battle. They arrived at a small Vorin outpost on a barren moon. The alien soldiers were well armed, their patrols vigilant. Lyra's team moved in silence, using the terrain for cover. As they approached the command center, a patrol stumbled upon them. Lyra drew the blade. In an instant, it responded, moving faster than her mind could follow. She struck with precision, disabling the aliens before they could sound an alarm. The team advanced, amazed at the weapon's instincts. Inside the command center, Terran hacked the controls, opening doors and disabling defenses. Lyra felt the blade resonate more strongly, as if sensing the mission's importance. Each strike, each movement was fluid and instinctive. The aliens were skilled, but the blade's power, combined with human strategy, gave them an edge. The mission succeeded beyond expectations. Vorin supplies were destroyed, communications disrupted, and several alien officers captured. Lyra returned to the shuttle, exhausted but exhilarated. She realized that the blade was not just about combat, it was about awakening humanity's potential. Each victory, no matter how small, reminded her team of what they were capable of. Back at the stronghold, Lyra reflected on the mission. The resistance celebrated their success, but Lyra's thoughts were elsewhere. She felt a strange connection to the blade, as if it were guiding her toward a larger purpose. It had chosen her, yes, but it had also chosen humanity. She was merely the first to answer its call. Terran approached, holding a small device that displayed the blade's energy readings. "Captain, you need to see this," he said. On the screen, patterns pulsed in rhythm with Lyra's heartbeat. "The blade, it's changing. Its power is increasing. It's adapting to you, learning from you. And I think it's teaching you something as well. Not just techniques, but understanding, strategy, insight." Lyra studied the patterns. She felt a thrill run through her. This weapon was a living archive of human skill and determination. Every strike, every movement, every decision she made with it added to its knowledge. And every time she wielded it, she felt humanity's spirit grow stronger. Days passed, and Lyra trained relentlessly. The Vorin attacks grew more frequent, but each time, the blade responded, enhancing her abilities and those of her team. The humans discovered that they could accomplish feats once thought impossible, disabling alien ships with precision strikes, outmaneuvering patrols, and even defending entire outposts against superior forces. Lyra's confidence grew, but so did her understanding of responsibility. The blade was not merely a tool of war. It was a symbol of human legacy. She realized that the humans she led were not just soldiers. They were the embodiment of humanity's potential. Each one of them, guided by courage and determination, could rise to meet challenges that seemed insurmountable. One night, As Lyra trained alone in the asteroid fields, she felt a presence in the blade unlike anything before. It pulsed with energy, and visions filled her mind. Ancient humans standing tall against impossible odds, their courage lighting the darkness, their determination shaping the course of history. She saw herself among them, not as an individual but as part of a greater whole, a human race that refused to be defeated. The realization struck her deeply. This was not just a battle for survival, it was a battle for identity, for the right to exist, to reclaim what had been lost. Humanity had been underestimated, dismissed, and oppressed. But the spirit that had once carried them across the stars still burned brightly. The blade was a reminder, a catalyst, a teacher. It had awakened something in her, and through her, it could awaken something in all humans. As dawn approached, Lyra returned to the stronghold, her resolve strengthened. The Vorin would continue to attack, but she now understood that fear and doubt were the real enemies. With courage, ingenuity, and the unyielding spirit of humanity, they could stand against any force. The blade was not just a weapon, it was a call to action, a beacon of hope, and a symbol of what humans could achieve when they refused to yield. She gathered her team and addressed them, her voice steady and commanding. The Vorin believe they are invincible. They think we are weak, scattered, and defeated. They are wrong. We have survived, and we have hope. We have the courage to fight, the wisdom to plan, and the will to endure. And we have this, she said, raising the blade. This is a reminder of who we are and who we can be. The squad cheered, their spirits lifted by Lyra's words and the sight of the weapon that had already turned the tide in their favor. They trained through the day and night, preparing for the battles ahead. Each strike with the blade was a lesson, each movement a testament to human skill and resilience. The humans began to understand that the weapon was not magic. It was a reflection of their own potential, amplified and focused. Lyra watched her team train, her mind filled with plans and possibilities. The Vorin were powerful, but they had underestimated humanity's greatest strength, the ability to adapt, to endure, and to rise against impossible odds. The blade was a spark, but humanity itself was the fire. And for the first time in decades, Lyra felt certain of one thing. The fight was far from over, but victory was possible. Not because they had superior numbers or technology, but because they had something the Vorin could never fully understand. Courage, ingenuity, and an unbreakable will, the essence of being human. The Vorin capital loomed on the horizon like a dark crown, its towers piercing the sky and radiating an aura of control and power. Lyra Kale stood on the bridge of the human shuttle, the blade strapped to her side, humming faintly as if sensing the importance of the mission ahead. Her team was tense, each member focused on their roles, but Lyra could feel the weight of destiny pressing down on her shoulders. This was no ordinary mission. This was a strike at the heart of the enemy. The shuttle descended through the upper atmosphere, weaving between the city's massive towers to avoid detection. Alien patrols scanned the skies, their sensors advanced and relentless. Lyra's heart pounded as she gripped the blade, feeling its energy thrumming in response to her focus. It was alive, yes, but more than that, it seemed to know where to guide her, when to act, and how to survive. Inside the shuttle, Terran monitored the enemy defenses, his fingers flying over the controls. "The capital is heavily fortified," he said quietly. "We'll need to be precise. Any mistake, and we're finished." Lyra nodded, her mind calm despite the tension. "We are not here to die," she said. "We are here to reclaim what is ours." Her words carried weight, and her team drew confidence from them. Humanity had faced impossible odds before, and this mission would be no different. As the shuttle landed on a hidden platform near the lower districts, the squad prepared for insertion. They moved silently, shadows among shadows through alleyways and abandoned streets. The city was alive with alien energy, glowing panels and flying vehicles streaking overhead. Every step brought danger, but the humans pressed on, guided by purpose and the blade's subtle hum. They reached the edge of the central fortress, a massive structure of black alloy and alien design. Lyra paused, studying the layout. "The command center is at the top," she whispered. "We move fast, stay quiet, and we strike together. Remember, we are more than soldiers. We are humans. That is our strength." The squad climbed, moving through ventilation shafts and service corridors, avoiding patrols and security drones. Each encounter tested their resolve, but Lyra led with calm precision. The blade reacted instinctively, its energy resonating with every movement. It guided her hand, enhanced her reflexes, and allowed her to anticipate the Voron's attacks. Finally, they reached a central chamber filled with consoles and glowing holograms. Lyra approached the largest console, sensing something unusual. The blade vibrated strongly in her hands, and suddenly a vision flooded her mind. Ancient humans standing tall against alien invaders, their courage shining across centuries, their determination unmatched. The blade had unlocked more of its legacy, showing her that humanity had once been feared across the stars, not for sheer strength, but for intelligence, bravery, and the unwillingness to surrender. Terran worked quickly to disable the alien systems, opening pathways and shutting down defenses. As he did, Lyra felt a presence approaching, a shadow moving with intent. She turned, and there he was. Kyrax, the Voron warlord who had long ruled the sector with unmatched skill and authority. He was massive, his armor bristling with alien technology, his eyes glowing with intelligence and malice. "You dare enter my domain, human?" Kyrax's voice echoed, both physical and mental, as if it penetrated every corner of the chamber. "Do you think your kind can challenge me?" Lyra tightened her grip on the blade. "I am not alone," she replied, "and humanity is never alone. We fight together, and we endure. That is what makes us strong." Kyrax laughed, a sound that vibrated through the chamber. "You carry an old weapon," he said, gesturing at the blade. "Do you believe it will protect you? You are alone. You are weak." The battle began without further words. Kyrax charged, his movements lightning fast, enhanced by alien technology. Lyra met him, the blade responding instantly to her instincts. Each strike she made was guided, precise, almost preternatural. She realized that the blade was more than a weapon. It was teaching her, adapting to her style, and helping her predict Kyrax's attacks. The warlord was relentless, each blow powerful enough to crush bones, yet Lyra dodged and countered, her mind sharp and focused. The blade hummed, glowing brighter with each successful strike. She could feel the connection deepening, not just between her and the weapon, but with every human who had wielded it before. Their courage, strategy, and determination flowed through her, shaping her movements. Kyrax paused for a moment, surprised. "You adapt quickly," he said, his voice edged with irritation. "No human has ever fought like this." Lyra pressed forward, her strikes fluid, combining the lessons of the blade with her own ingenuity. She used the environment, ducking behind pillars, leaping over consoles, turning the chamber itself into a weapon. Kyrax's technology was advanced, but he could not anticipate creativity, and he could not anticipate the strength of human will. Hours seemed to pass in minutes. Each clash of the blade echoed through the fortress, a rhythm of human courage against alien superiority. Lyra felt herself growing stronger, more confident, her senses heightened by the blade's guidance. She realized something vital. Victory was not about matching the Voron blow for blow. It was about understanding them, outthinking them, and using human ingenuity to turn the tide. Finally, Kyrax faltered. A well-timed feint from Lyra, combined with the blade's instinctive guidance, left him exposed. She struck decisively, the blade cutting through his armor and sending him to the ground. He stared at her, disbelief etched across his alien features. "You are human," he whispered, before falling unconscious. Lyra stood over him, breathing heavily, the blade glowing softly in her hands. She realized that the fight had proven something beyond personal victory. It was proof that humans, underestimated and oppressed, could rise against even the most formidable opponents. The Vorin were strong, yes, but human courage, strategy, and adaptability were forces they could not fully comprehend. Terran entered the chamber, eyes wide at the scene. "Captain, you did it," he said, awe in his voice. "The warlord defeated?" Lyra nodded. "Not just me," she said. "We did it. Humanity did it. This blade, it's not just a weapon. It's a reminder of what we are capable of, and it will help us show the galaxy that we are not weak. We are strong. We endure. We rise." The squad regrouped, securing the chamber and using the console to send a message across the sector. Humans would hear of this victory, and the Vorin would know that resistance was not futile. Lyra knew the battle was far from over, but for the first time, hope burned brightly in her heart. Humanity had been underestimated for too long, and now, with courage, determination, and the blade as their symbol, they could begin to reclaim their place among the stars. As they prepared to leave the capital, Lyra paused, looking down at the blade. Its hum was steady, almost content. She realized that it had chosen her not to fight alone, but to awaken something in all humans, a spark of courage and ingenuity that could not be extinguished. The mission had proven a point. Strength was not measured in technology alone, but in the will to act, to endure, and to rise when others expected defeat. Humanity's legacy was not in numbers or weapons, but in spirit. And with that spirit, guided by the blade, they could challenge any force in the galaxy. Lyra looked at her team, tired but determined. "This is only the beginning," she said. "The Vorin will retaliate. They always do. But we are ready. We know who we are. And now, the universe will know too." Humanity is not weak. Humanity endures. Humanity rises. The squad departed the capital under the cover of darkness, leaving the Vorin to recover from their shock. Lyra held the blade close, feeling its energy resonate with hers. She knew the path ahead would be difficult, filled with danger and uncertainty, but she also knew that humans had something the Vorin could never take from them: courage, ingenuity, and an unyielding will to survive and thrive. The stars stretched above them, vast and indifferent, yet full of possibility. Lyra felt a surge of hope. The war was far from over, but humanity had begun to awaken. And with the blade in her hands, she would continue to lead them, to guide them, and to remind them and the universe of what it meant to be human. For the first time in centuries, humanity's story was not one of defeat. It was a story of courage, of strategy, and of unbreakable spirit. And Lyra Kale, chosen by the blade, would ensure that story continued, stronger and brighter than ever before. The horizon glowed faintly with the light of distant suns as Lyra Kyle and her squad moved across the liberated city. The Vorin forces had been scattered, their warships retreating into orbit, leaving behind a landscape of shattered towers and silent streets. Yet in the midst of the ruin, humanity had begun to return. Survivors emerged from hiding, children peeked from shelters, and workers began to clear debris. Hope, long buried, was waking again. Lyra walked among them, the blade humming faintly in her hands. It was quiet now, almost peaceful, yet its presence radiated power and purpose. She had learned in the battles that had come before that the weapon was more than a tool of war. It was a guide, a symbol, and a teacher. Every strike she had made, every maneuver she had executed, had been shaped by its ancient legacy, and every lesson it had imparted had been passed along to humanity itself. The squad reached the center of the city, where a crowd of survivors had gathered. They looked to Lyra with a mix of awe, relief, and gratitude. She raised the blade slightly, its glow illuminating her determined face. "We have endured," she said, her voice steady and strong. "We have survived, and now we will rebuild. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is not forgotten. Humanity rises." Cheers erupted from the crowd. For the first time in decades, humans in this sector felt free. The Vorin had underestimated them, dismissed them, and attempted to erase their presence. But humanity had proven its strength, not through sheer numbers, but through courage, ingenuity, and unbreakable will. Terran approached Lyra, carrying a portable device. "The energy readings from the blade are remarkable," he said. "It has not just bonded with you, Captain. It has begun to resonate with others. Humans in proximity are showing enhanced reflexes, increased focus, and courage that seems almost contagious. I think it's more than a weapon now. It's a beacon." Lyra looked around at the survivors, seeing determination in their eyes. "Then let it guide us," she said. "Not just me, but all of us. We will learn, we will grow, and we will reclaim what is ours." Over the following days, Lyra and her team worked tirelessly to rebuild and fortify the city. The blade remained at her side, its hum a constant reminder of human potential. Training programs were established, teaching survivors to defend themselves and to think strategically. Terran worked with engineers and tech specialists, repurposing captured Vorin technology to enhance human capabilities without replacing human ingenuity. Every step forward was a demonstration of humanity's resilience, creativity, and adaptability. Word of their victory spread quickly. Other human settlements, previously isolated and fearful, began to reach out. They were inspired by the reports of the blade and its wielder, seeing in Lyra a living testament to what humans could achieve when united and determined. The resistance became a network, a rising force that challenged Vorin authority across multiple planets. One evening, as Lyra trained alone in a quiet courtyard, she felt the blade pulse more strongly than ever. She held it before her, its glow illuminating the surrounding stone and debris. Suddenly, a vision filled her mind, images of humans from across history and galaxies, warriors, explorers, leaders, all connected through courage and determination. They stood together, not as individuals, but as a collective force of human will. The blade had unlocked its full legacy, showing her that humanity's strength had always been in unity, spirit, and perseverance. Lyra understood then what she had always felt instinctively. The blade did not fight for her. It did not choose her to wield power blindly. It chose her to awaken humanity, to remind them of their potential, and to inspire others to rise. She felt a deep sense of purpose settle over her, a clarity that the war was far from over, but that humans now held the key to shaping their own destiny. The next challenge came sooner than expected. A Vorin strike fleet, recovering from previous losses, appeared in orbit. Their warships were massive, armed with weapons designed to destroy entire cities. Humans in the city panicked, but Lyra remained calm. She raised the blade, its hum intensifying, and addressed the assembled defenders. "This is what we have trained for," she said. "This is what we are capable of. Today, we do not fight as scattered survivors. We fight as humans. We fight as one." The battle was fierce. Vorin weapons struck with deadly precision, tearing through buildings and sending shockwaves across the city. But humans had learned to adapt. They used terrain, improvised defenses, and coordinated strategies that the Vorin could not predict. Lyra led from the front, the blade enhancing her reflexes, anticipating enemy movements, and guiding her team to strike at vulnerabilities in the alien formations. It was not just brute force that won the day. It was ingenuity. Humans repaired damaged ships mid-battle, repurposed alien weapons, and coordinated attacks across multiple fronts. Lyra moved through the chaos with the blade in her hands, cutting through enemy forces with precision, inspiring courage in those around her. The Vorin, despite their technology and experience, could not anticipate the resilience and adaptability of humans united. As the last of the Vorin fleet was driven back, the survivors cheered. Lyra stood at the center of the city, the blade glowing softly. She felt the presence of humanity itself, a collective force of courage, determination, and willpower that had been underestimated for centuries. They had survived, and now they had risen. Terran approached, smiling. The readings from the blade, they show it is fully integrated with the human spirit. It has awakened potential across the city. People are stronger, faster, smarter, and more confident than ever. It's incredible. Lyra nodded, feeling the truth in his words. This is not about power, she said. It is about responsibility. We have been given a chance to rebuild, to reclaim, and to inspire. The blade is a symbol, but the real strength is in us, all of us. Over the next weeks, humanity began to rebuild not just the city, but a network of human settlements. The resistance grew into an organized force, united under the ideals of courage, ingenuity, and perseverance. The blade became a symbol of hope, guiding humans to unlock their potential and reminding them of their legacy. Lyra continued to train and lead, but she also taught others to take initiative, to think strategically, and to trust in their own abilities. She encouraged exploration, innovation, and cooperation. The humans learned that victory was not about weapons alone, but about the spirit, creativity, and determination that no alien could replicate or suppress. The city flourished. Humans who had lived in fear returned to their homes, working alongside those who had survived the occupation. The Vorin, though still powerful, had been forced to retreat and reconsider their approach. Humanity's resurgence could not be ignored, and for the first time, they were respected across multiple star systems as a force to be reckoned with. One evening, Lyra stood atop a rebuilt tower, the blade glowing softly in her hands. She gazed at the stars, feeling the hum of the weapon resonate with her heartbeat. Memories of past battles, visions of human history, and glimpses of future possibilities filled her mind. She understood that the fight was not just for survival, but for identity, for legacy, and for the right to shape their own destiny. The blade had recognized her, but in doing so, it had recognized humanity itself. It had chosen a human capable of leading, of inspiring, and of awakening the latent potential within others. Lyra felt a profound sense of purpose. She would continue to guide humanity, to teach, to inspire, and to defend. In the following years, humanity's presence spread across the stars. Former colonies rejoined the fold, survivors built thriving cities, and humans learned to balance courage with wisdom, strength with ingenuity. The blade remained with Lyra, not as a weapon of destruction, but as a guide, a teacher, and a symbol of enduring human spirit. Generations later, humans would speak of the battles fought, the courage displayed, and the leader who had wielded the ancient weapon. They would speak of the spark that reignited humanity's spirit and the lessons learned from a blade that recognized the strength within its wielder. Humanity had endured, and through courage, ingenuity, and unyielding will, it had risen stronger than ever. Lyra Kyle, standing atop the tower with the blade in her hands, looked out at the stars and smiled. Humanity's story was far from over. The galaxy was vast, filled with challenges and opportunities, but humans were no longer the underdogs. They had awakened their potential, reclaimed their legacy, and proven that spirit, courage, and determination could overcome even the greatest odds. And as the blade pulsed softly in her hands, it seemed to whisper a promise that humans, guided by courage and ingenuity, would continue to rise, and that the universe would never again underestimate them. The hum of the weapon faded to a gentle resonance, a constant reminder that humanity had awakened. Lyra felt the weight of history, the pride of survival, and the hope for a future built by human hands. The city below thrived. Humans looked to the stars, and for the first time in centuries, they knew they were free, not just in body, but in spirit. The blade had chosen her, and in choosing her, it had chosen humanity. The legacy of the past, the courage of the present, and the promise of the future all converged in that moment. Lyra raised the weapon high, its glow illuminating the sky, a beacon of hope for all who would follow. The story of humanity, once hidden in shadows, had returned. The universe had been reminded that humans were not weak, not powerless, and not to be underestimated. They endured. They rose. And with courage, unity, and ingenuity, they would continue to shape their destiny among the stars. The blade recognized her, and through her, it recognized humanity, strong, resilient, and unstoppable.